What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/Am I the Butthole? And if you'd like to skip that initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And I just want to thank a couple of new Patreon members who joined us yesterday with Amber Bissell, and we also had Alison Bong. Thank you so much for your support. What you do makes a huge difference to the channel, it really does, and for everyone, for spending 20 minutes or so of your day, your precious time with me, means the absolute world. So let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And we're starting with a story from Forrest111 titled, Am I the Arsehole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My stepson Aaron, 17, has always been a jokester. First his jokes were funny, then he started using others' identities to start drama in family and friends. For example, he once texted his cousin's phone with a flirty text, and his cousin's girlfriend saw it and it got messy. He texted his uncle pretending to be his son's friend and lied about his son being in an accident. It was awful. I tried doing something about it by everyone saying he's adapting, it's normal teenage behaviour, he'll grow out of it. Even blamed his dad, saying he is a jokester himself, so it's a trait in his DNA. I tried to get an explanation out of him, and he'd say stuff like, dude, like, it's kind of fun, which made no sense. My final straw was days ago when I was at work and I received a text via my pregnant wife's phone, telling me her water broke and told me to meet her at XXX hospital. I drove for 1.5 hours and called her family and we went there. We were shocked to know my wife never came to the hospital. I called her phone then went home. When I got there, I found my wife was actually napping like she does usually, and Aaron coming downstairs laughing at my face and my in-laws' faces. I yelled at him when he said he got me fooled by taking my wife's phone and texted me about her going into labour. He asked, oh my fucking god, did you literally drive to the freaking hospital? My wife said nothing, but I decided I had had it. I told him I was sick of his games and needs two options: therapy to fix his issues or no longer living in my house. He complained about it being his dad's idea, but it was obvious blame shifting. He went upstairs calling me names. My wife tried to calm me down, but my blood pressure, I have a chronic disease, was up and I was shaking. My in-laws said I was too harsh and went too far with my ultimatum. I decided to back down because I think I won't be able to take it more. I apparently made them more upset than what Aaron did and said I have to forgive him and drop it, but I couldn't. Thing is, Aaron is 100% against therapy and has a pretty bad idea of it. He associates it to his parents divorcing and is making it his hill to die on, and says no one will force him to get therapy since he thinks it's a waste of time trying to change his personality. About his bio dad. I've discussed this behaviour with him and his response was that I was being bossy and controlling. His opinion about therapy was that I'm attempting to brainwash or change Aaron's personality and control what he says and how he behaves to get him on my side, especially since Aaron doesn't see me as a father figure to him. Of course, none of his claims are true. He even told me to my face that Aaron can do whatever he wants, whenever he pleases, and it's none of my concern. But I was trying to keep communication open, otherwise I'd be accused of enforcing my own thoughts and decisions without Aaron's dad's input. Well, we'll start off by reiterating the age again. He's 17 years old, and he's not a jokester. These are not jokes, these are horrible things to do to people. Potentially ruining a relationship, telling someone's son has been in an accident, and then telling your wife is gone into labour and you having to rush around and cause you and your family all kinds of stress. These are not jokes, and the big issue here is that the family is just enabling him to do these things. We see it many times in these stories where family turns around and say, oh yeah, it's just a joke, it's just what he does. And absolutely not. If they continue to enable it, he isn't going to change, is he? Absolutely not the arsehole in my opinion. Because otherwise you've just got to continue to live with this kind of behaviour. The final frontier says, not the arsehole, your stepson is 17, not 7. And if he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong at this age, you are well within your rights to not want to associate with him. Honestly, given the lack of parenting from his mother, I'd be questioning my decision to have children with a woman who will not accept or discipline her son. Never a thought says not the arsehole. It seems though what you've got is an in-law problem. Aaron is never going to change when all the adults around him justify his behavior. This one should have been the last straw for everyone, and yet they acted like it was just a funny joke. You upended your entire day, drove 1.5 hours, one way, missed work, and instead of an apology, you were laughed at and berated. Yet, here you are, being told you're wrong for immediately bowing to his joke. Stay steadfast in your decision here, and if you're ostracized, maybe it's time to take a break and co-parent your new child away from this environment. Freaking Marita says, not the asshole, your stepson is a sociopath. Those aren't jokes, they are mean-spirited. 17 is beyond old enough to know what he's doing. Plus, if you do have a chronic BP disorder, those awful pranks could kill you at this rate. Historical Inaccurate says, not the arsehole, those aren't jokes and it's not a phase. It appears that everyone is enabling this behavior. You are right that he needs therapy. He can go live with his in-laws if they don't think it's an issue, and they can deal with it. And one more from Damn Dutchman who says, not the arsehole. He doesn't see how harmful his jokes have become, or the danger it could possibly put others in. Say your wife's water actually broke or she fell and you were an hour and so away at the hospital because of his joke. Your wife needed to step up here and she has failed also. She's letting him get away with his behavior. Therapy was a great idea, but he's clearly not open to it, so yeah, I'd send him to his father's too. Funny how it's not so fun anymore to actually face the consequences of his actions. Now, what do you guys think of this one? Would you give him this ultimatum of therapy or send him to his dad's? Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Throw Wedding Dress. Am I the asshole for demanding my stepdaughter to pay for my daughter's wedding dress that she ruined? I'm a mother of two. My biological daughter 22 and my stepdaughter 23. Both girls grew up together and my husband passed away years ago. My stepdaughter has a competitive personality. She's always in a race with my daughter in everything, from simple achievements like getting higher grades to bigger achievements like graduating, owning a car, getting engaged first. My daughter doesn't care about being first or last. Not only is she not the competitive type, but she's also non-confrontational, so I sometimes find it necessary to step in and tell my stepdaughter to stop making her sister feel like she's in a race with her and complaining about stuff my daughter got to do first. My daughter got engaged when her stepsister has already been engaged for 8 months. The problem began when my daughter announced her wedding date, despite being engaged for just 2 months. My stepdaughter didn't like that and tried to get ahead and plan her wedding as soon as possible, but couldn't find a venue with a date earlier than my daughter. My stepdaughter tried convincing my daughter to slow down and put off the wedding, but it's impossible since everything has been set. My daughter is getting married at the end of August. She bought a $700 wedding dress that me and my stepdaughter saw. My stepdaughter got mad and had a meltdown and ghosted us for a week. Then came to visit while my daughter was staying with me, acting calm and nice. She excused herself to the bathroom when we had dinner, then came back and said her fiancé was outside and she needed to leave. It was strange that she left in a hurry. My daughter entered her room and found her wedding dress cut to pieces from below the waist. We were in dismay. We figured it was my stepdaughter who did this since she couldn't do anything about the fact my daughter was getting married before her. My daughter broke down. I confronted my stepdaughter in front of her fiancé and she denied and yelled at me. I told her I knew she did it and handed her the bill for the dress she ruined out of spite and demanded she pay for a new one. Her fiancé picked an argument and got everyone involved after I threatened with court. My stepdaughter then apologized, blaming it on mental issues, but said she can't use the wedding money to pay my daughter $700. They tried talking me into letting them pay in a matter of months or asking my daughter to postpone till after my stepdaughter's wedding. But I didn't accept since my daughter then will have to lose more. It's been days and they're trying to negotiate. In case it's relevant, the wedding dress was paid for by me as a gift for my daughter, and because the damage took place at my house, then I feel I should be doing something about it. Now, I'm not going to take guesses at what it could be, but going through that story, it felt like when she actually went into the room and cut the dress to pieces, it felt like there was something a lot more deeper there than just, sibling competition, if you know what I mean. But to me, it feels like you don't have much of a choice but to continue to press this to get the money so she can have the wedding at the day she wants, even if that's possible now to get a dress within that time. Simply because if you was to negotiate it now and you was to say set up a payment plan and she was to have her wedding after her stepdaughter's wedding now, she's got exactly what she wants. She's got her wedding first, and I think that's just not the right path to go down. But Garth Astro says, not the arsehole, stand your ground. Your stepdaughter has fucked around. Now it's time for her to find out. Tiny Rascalsaurus says, not the arsehole, give them an ultimatum. They pay or destruction of property is reported to the police. In a lot of places, 700 is in the felony range. Hopefully that will drive home the seriousness of the crime. Your stepdaughter acted out of spite and needs to face the consequences. MS Movie replies to that saying, especially considering, if I read correctly, that stepdaughter is still bringing up having her daughter postpone her wedding as a solution to the ruined dress. That doesn't exactly sound like the suggestion of someone feeling remorse. I would give stepdaughter a week to come up with the $700, and if she doesn't, it's time to involve the police. Princess of Perky says, not the arsehole, this is beyond competition. There's something seriously wrong with your stepdaughter. Either way, she has to be uninvited to the wedding. There's a good chance that she'll try something else, maybe have security present. For the dress, tell her she either pays or you press charges or take her to small claims court and maybe have cameras installed. Amaranth Adams says, not the arsehole. Even people with mental illness need to understand that actions have consequences. She needs to repay her stepsister for the dress and get therapy. She can work out a payment plan if her budget is that tight. Also, do not let her near anything that's to do with your daughter's wedding, to the point of uninviting her. If she's capable of destroying your sister's wedding dress, she's capable of destroying the ceremony and or reception. Ashley95 says, not the arsehole, should just call the police and sue her for emotional damages and property theft damages. And one more from Jintes who says, not the arsehole, you're going to have to take her to court. Realise this is going to mean she is no longer going to be a part of your life. But is that such a loss? You probably won't see a dime, but I wouldn't back down if I were you. That was just cruel. Now it seems like everyone's heading towards, the legal route. What do you think? Would you go down that route? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Henbrick Hem, titled, Am I the arsehole for telling my son he can't dress a certain way for school? I, 38 male, have a son, 14 male, about to go into high school. My son hasn't always been a social butterfly, but has been recently gaining confidence through an odd form of dress. It's incredibly feminine, which I don't have anything against, and while he hasn't worn any yet, he's expressed interest in skirts/dresses. I also don't mind this. He's gone out into public with such clothing, which I don't mind for one reason. The people who see him in public probably won't ever see him again. They might think he's weird, but they'll forget about him soon. At school, kids remember shit. I still remember those crazy furry kids who would wear tails and make out in hallways. It was gross and weird. That's what I thought as a kid. I openly expressed this as a kid. I told my son about this. He said that if I couldn't handle my child growing up and expressing themselves, then maybe I should have just told his mum to get an abortion. I tried to further explain. He told me that if he got bullied, he'd suck it up and deal with it, or go to the school. He wouldn't change his mind, nor would I change mine. His mum, who does not live with us, thinks it's cute and that he should be happy despite what other people think. I tried to explain what other people think can affect him mentally and socially. She said she was severely bullied as a child, and while she struggled with mental health, she turned out fine in the end. I've considered taking his clothes at this point because going to school in such fashion is extreme. Am I the arsehole? Also note that school starts the first Monday of September. And we're going to start off with Now Let Me Judge You, who says, you think being bullied is going to affect him more than his own parent not accepting him and taking his clothes. Jesus, let him let his freak flag fly. We all did this as kids. You're the arsehole. Dormant Dormouse says, oof, you're the arsehole. You clearly do have a problem with a kiddo choosing feminine clothes, and this is how it is expressing itself. Think of it this way, yes, the kid might get bullied. There are two possible outcomes if he is. 1. Shit, I got bullied, but at least my parents supported me. I bet I can go to him about this too. 2. Shit, I got bullied, and I can't talk to my parent about this, or I'll just hear, I told you so. I'll just bottle this up. And Justin Waltown says, you're the arsehole, your son may be testing the waters for a bigger announcement, and you failed the test. It isn't too late to make it right. And one more from What's Happened 2020 who says, I understand your concern as a parent to shield your child from harm, but you cannot and should not stop a fully informed decision of self-expression. This hurts no one and you have expressed your doubts. Do not compound it with actually taking his clothes. Support him. You're the arsehole. Now we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Sincere1945. Am I the arsehole for causing roommate's girlfriend to be banned from the apartment? I, 24 male, have been renting a 2-bedroom apartment for about 8 months. I had a new roommate move in with me in the past month and he's a nice guy and we get along well. However, he has a girlfriend who's conservative, Asian Muslim to be specific, and she visits during nighttime since my roommate works during the day. The problem started when I once walked out my room while she was visiting. She was sitting in the living room and when she saw me she stared for a whole minute, then she freaked out shouting Arabic words, not sure and covering her face and head. I was puzzled. My roommate quickly pulled me into the kitchen and explained that I can't just show up in the living room wearing what I'm wearing, which was a regular set of pajamas. He pointed that part of my chest was showing. He explained how she's conservative and by showing myself like that I was making her guilty of committing a sin even by just unintentionally looking. I apologized and said I'd be careful next time. She visited again days ago and stayed till around 10 PM. I was asleep in my room and wanted to use the bathroom. I walked to it and saw her getting out drying her hands. She froze in her place when she saw me, stared for a few seconds and then yelled, causing my roommate to rush out the kitchen and ask him what's going on. She grabbed her stuff and walked out immediately. My roommate lashed out to me, asking me what the hell I was wearing. I was so fucking confused, still shaken up from her screaming. I was wearing a red t-shirt and shorts. I was super confused, like I wasn't even topless or anything. He argued that I was being disrespectful to him and his girlfriend and doing this on purpose since he already asked me to be a little more considerate towards his girlfriend. I had an argument with him after he demanded that I stay in my room during his girlfriend's visiting hours and called him unreasonable since I have to use the bathroom for medical reasons. He then begged me to do this favour for him, but I ended up saying that I'd be contacting my landlord and it got worse. His girlfriend is no longer allowed to visit because of what happened, and my roommate is saying it's unfair because she can't see him anywhere else. Don't know why. He says it's my fault and I should have made adjustments to make it work for both sides. This one's pretty simple to me, and it can be religion aside or anything, but that someone, a guest coming into your house and setting up boundaries for you is absolutely not on. Like you said, you wasn't exposing yourself, you was literally in your pajamas trying to use the bathroom. I mean, come on now. So an automatic not the arsehole from me, but we're going to start off with Mrs. Sheik, who says, not the arsehole. I'm an Asian Muslim and I am laughing at how, why and what is a conservative Muslim woman doing dating and visiting an apartment shared by 2 men and demanding her rules be followed. I am wheezing. She's delusional. She can't see him anywhere else because a conservative Muslim woman is not supposed/expected to date. Triceratop says, not the arsehole, it's a place you live and you pay to live there. You're entitled to wear pajamas and shorts and use the bathroom in your own fucking house. And if she's that strictly conservative Muslim, her religion has some pretty specific things to say about being alone with men that aren't her blood family members. And she and your roommate can kick rocks for cherry picking shit that makes you out to be the bad guy. I love it when we get a kick rocks in the video. And Purple Womber says, not the arsehole, it's an unreasonable demand on his behalf, and quotes, because she can't see him anywhere, don't know why, and then says, if she's as conservative as she pretends, I'd bet good money that it's because she's not supposed to see him alone or even see him at all, much less spend the night with him. A New Drive says, not the arsehole, she can have a boyfriend but can't see a tiny bit of your chest. Yeah, her sin isn't seeing your chest, lol. And Anthema Device says, not the arsehole, you pay rent, the girlfriend does not. If she's that religious, what is she doing visiting a man at night unchaperoned? Also, this seems bogus, because based on your roommate's logic, the girlfriend is sinning every time she sees someone wear shorts in the summer. It's incumbent on the religious to live by their beliefs, not the rest of us. I'd get another roommate while you're at it. And one more from Pamphlet Hamlet 21, who says, not the arsehole. Listen, I respect that this is her religion, but people cannot expect others to completely change their lives in their own home for this. It's not like you were asked not to put pork in the food or use cheese with a lactose intolerant person's dinner. You're being asked to never leave your room while she's there. That is unacceptable. She does not pay rent, and even if she did, this would be unacceptable. The solution is she stays in the roommate's room the whole time. Now, what do you guys make of this story? What do you make of all of today's stories? What are your verdicts on them if you choose to share them? A huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being involved and spending 20 minutes of your precious time with the channel today means the absolute world. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.